As someone who grew up in the 2000s, there were 3 shows that stood out to me: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Beyblade. These were my childhood big 3. I loved playing Pokemon Fire Red growing up, and while I didn't own a Beyblade, the anime made the fights so cool, even though it was just spinning tops. And then there was Yu-Gi-Oh! Like most kids, I was first introduced to the anime, watching Yugi and the gang go through Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, and alike, all while not following any of the actual rules of the game.
Now, Stone Soldier, destroy the moon!
Fun fact, this is an actual card you can use in game. It's not good, but it's there. And of course I had the cards. Who do you think I am? A third-rate duelist with a 4th-rate deck? God, is this video just gonna be me trying to shove in as many Yu-Gi-Oh references as I can?
Yes!
If you asked me, hey Ina, where did you get these cards? I couldn't tell you. I probably got them through passing, like I stole them from family members and just never gave them back. And the crown jewel of it all is this limited edition Panther Warrior that goes for... Okay, that's more than I thought. There was only one instance where I do remember opening product, and it was the Warriors Triumph Structure deck. And I took that shit to school and played with the one other person who played Yu-Gi-Oh! His name was probably James or something. At my elementary school, there was this little corner that I referred to as the Yu-Gi-Oh corner. There was also this big ass tree right next to it where you could find a bunch of kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not lying when I say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was bigger than Pokemon at the time, but it's probably because the teachers would take away everyone's Game Boys. On that note, did you know that there were video games? I grew up playing Stairway to the Destined Duel. It was your standard GOAT format with all the bells and whistles. The normal Cyberstein, Special Blue Eyes Ultimate, and watch as Mokuba shits his pants. The best part of this game was definitely the card machine. You see these numbers at the bottom? You can enter them in the machine and it'll give you a free copy of the card. Yeah, I guess you could open packs. But what if you just cheat? Actually, now that I think about it, it was pretty cool on Konami's part to get kids into buying the actual cards. Why test your luck for free when you could spend $5? But like most kids, I eventually lost interest. I'd still catch an episode here and there, but for the most part, I completely stopped playing. And then we flash forward to 2022 with the release of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. You know, the game Ludwig played that one time.
My fucking ass trap. I hit up 7 trap cards in my fucking asshole and I get to pull them out if you attack me. There's one place for the trap cards. Just keep it to that.
I wasn't really hooked on the idea of Master Duel at first. I was like, why would I open up digital packs when I could just go out and buy some? But the same could be said for literally any gacha game. Why would I spend hundreds of dollars on a JPEG when I could just print a picture of them? Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that either. Before I knew it, a few of my friends started playing, and I was getting a little bit of FOMO, and so I swallowed my pride and downloaded Master Duel. It all went downhill from there. Master Duel was a way to give players an option to play on an official simulator. This was great for existing players, but it was also a way to get the boomers back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or so I thought. Yeah, it turns out a lot of stuff has changed in the past 15 years or so. You got fusion summoning, which I was already a pro at, ritual summoning, a mechanic Konami seemed to have forgotten about, but there was black cards, white cards, interracial babies. But that wasn't gonna stop me. I blew past the tutorial and was finally able to build my first deck. At the time, there were a handful of decks that were considered meta, namely Drytron, Eldritch, Tri-Brigade, and Sky Striker. I think you know which one I went with. That's right, Spirit Charmers. It was like the 3rd or 4th deck I made after Sky Striker. The idea of this deck is that you control Rei, and she's able to swap into these different armor things. It's a control deck with a heavy emphasis on spell cards. And not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was pretty average at best. In all seriousness though, I really enjoyed playing this deck. It introduced me to link summoning, which became my go-to playstyle, and it was different from anything else I played as a kid. I will admit, learning the combos and understanding how the deck worked was pretty challenging. I mean, I essentially had to relearn the entire game, but once I got the hang of it, it's actually quite fun. I get such a dopamine rush when I'm able to turn a game around after misplaying like 5 times. Yo, what the fuck am I doing? And I like that there were a ton of rogue strategies as well. I played Black Rose Synchro, Dragon Link for a little bit, Marincess, Live Twins, but the deck that I'm most proud of is 60 card Dogmatica Magistus Adventure Charmers with a DPE engine. What? Was it bricky? Yes. Did it only end on like 1 negate? It's a Borreload Savage Dragon. But was it fun? I just clapped this player's booty cheeks. Can your deck do that? I think the best thing that's happened since getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been all the content creators I discovered. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is known to be a very frustrating game, so it's nice to see people take a more lighthearted and creative approach to it. Have you seen all the crazy shit you can do in this game? I'd rather sit through 10 minutes of disgusting pee-pee poo-poo meme slop than a sweaty ass snake eye combo. And then there's all the different formats people have created, most of which involve drafting. The fun thing about draft formats is that you don't know what you're gonna get. You can get something absolutely dog water, but at least it's the same for your opponent. You got Prague, you got Master Saga, you got Master Cube, Master Wheel. What the fuck is everyone's obsession with wheels? It's actually crazy.
This is a super great wheel card, if not one of the best ones. I'm gonna put it right up to the S tier wheelie great.
And then you got people like Ruggles and Nim Nim who really changed the game when they incorporated high quality vlog style content. Like, if you told someone 10, 15 years ago that Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos could look like this, they would have never believed you. Now this is what I'm talking about. Alright, so this seems like a really weird segment to include in the video, but it's a topic that's been making the rounds for a while, especially after the release of Master Duel. Is Yu-Gi-Oh! Dying? Now, I'll be the first to say that I'm the most ill-equipped person to talk about this kind of stuff, especially from a financial standpoint. However, with the release of stuff like Rarity Collection 5 and the Limit Over Collection, there's definitely a newfound interest for collectors. And Gooners, when it comes to getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or getting back into it, it's a completely different ballgame. There are more than a handful of videos that criticize the complexity and how it's not the same as it used to be. And while it's fun to meme on someone for these boomer takes, they're not entirely wrong. Yu-Gi-Oh! At its core is pretty simple. You summon monsters, activate spells and traps in order to reduce your opponent's life points to 0. They just added a lot more things to get to that goal easier. Gone are the days of, I summon big guy, have fun setting for the rest of the game, idiot. Now I gotta read a novel? That was my obligatory reading joke of the video. Everybody gets one. Side note, if you're one of those people who complain about Yu-Gi-Oh! Card text and how it's too long, have you seen Fire Emblem Heroes? Messi. And I get it, no one enjoys watching their Ash get dumpstered while your opponent combos off. But to Konami's credit, they've been releasing decks, even rogue decks that have been able to play going second relatively well. And while the learning curve is quite steep, it really only applies to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! There are tons of communities out there that are dedicated to older formats, like GOAT and Edison, which most people would tell you to start at if you're just getting into the game. Hell, you can even try Duel Links, which is its own separate thing, but at its core is still Yu-Gi-Oh! As someone who returned to Yu-Gi-Oh! After 15 plus years, and whose first introductory back was Master Duel, it was very overwhelming. I went through the same problems a lot of beginners faced. I was figuring out how all the summoning mechanics worked. I was frantically reading cards and keeping track of everything that was going on. A game should teach you how to play and give you an idea of what to expect without having to look up a guide. The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it would just take way too long and it would just drive players away. I don't know how they'll be able to fix this, if it's even possible, but the reality is, that's just how the game is. It's very much trial and error, much like every other game in existence. And I don't want to come off as a jerk, but if you can play Yu-Gi-Oh!, chances are you have the ability to look up resources and guides. Like, I'm not gonna pretend 99% of information is paywalled. What do you do when you're stuck? You look up a guide. If you want to learn how to play a deck, boom, guide right there. Yu-Gi-Oh takes time, more time than your average card game to learn. And if that's a turnoff to you, that's okay. Yu-Gi-Oh is a hard game and probably way too complicated for its own good, but that's what makes it so appealing to me and thousands of other players. Look, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I really do, and even though I don't play it as much as I used to, I'm still relatively up to date with all the new stuff that's come out. I think the new cinematic solo modes are amazing, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Chronicle series gave fans what they've been asking for years. But holy shit are they short. John Konami, small indie company by the way. It's crazy to see that after 25 years, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still alive and kicking, and I hope it stays that way for years to come.